Ba, ba, da, da, da. Good morning, everybody. Leadership doesn't happen in silos. It happens in circles. Today, we're talking about how to gather your team because you are ready to lead. We spent the last few weeks talking about leadership. I talk about the Spark Freedom Framework of Leadership, LIGHT, and we laid that out. I have a link for that from a few weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the first step in leading. And that was basically leading yourself first, starting with the mirror before you start with the microphone. That's the point. You start with the mirror first, and we covered that a few weeks ago. Basically, get yourself hyped on your cause, because if you were a leader that's been growing dusty and you haven't been leading groups of people, you've been working in a silo as a solopreneur, you're going to have to step in and fire yourself up. We covered that 2 weeks ago. And then last week, we covered illuminate the challenges. This was basically calling out the elephant in the room, basically lighting up the room by calling the elephant in it, calling it out, and sharing with people that you understand what they're going through. You understand the pain they're experiencing. You understand the challenges they're experiencing. This isn't calling someone out. This is calling something out. And not only does it build rapport, it builds trust, because they trust that you actually know or can see the problems that they're facing. So in the LIGHT framework of bringing your leadership light into the world, we're here to cover G today. Gather your crew before you gather your crowd. You see, a lot of people are usually saying, I'm ready to lead, and they just want to get in front of people, and they just want to start leading droves of people to them. No leadership movement was ever started without a core crew. So as you go from internally leading yourself and fixing yourself and getting yourself right, and pivoting to leading others, what do I got here? There we go. Pin that sucker. Boom. To leading others, you've got to actually bridge this with leading a core crew. And so this is your top 3 to 5 trusted advisors. In fact, this was so important that Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich dedicated an entire chapter to building what he called a mastermind. Now, today we have these things called masterminds, and they're really like budding, personal development, networking events. But when it comes to leadership and leading your business, leading your ministry, leading your cause, leading your personal brand, leading the launch of your book or your video or your presentation or your course or your community, or leading your nonprofit, whatever it is, there's going to be this moment that this thing needs to launch, and no cause worth its salt happened with a solo leader. Never happened. It might have started with someone getting massive internal clarity, and then it happened with, calling out the problem and gathering voices and starting to network and connect with people and coming out of their cave and creating empathy. But then it reached out to 3 to 5 of these people and got them activated somehow. And today I'm sharing you with how I do this with the core framework. Yes, we're building up a framework of frameworks for Spark Light Leadership, and it's the Spark Light Leadership Framework. Today we're doing core, C-O-R-E, and this is how to call out your core crew, how to set the groundwork so that people can opt in or opt out to go the distance with you as you start to get into your launch. I've done several launches, and today I'm going to share one particular launch. I fell flat on my face, and I even did the first steps of gathering my crew well, had 14 people at one point for my next launch, and it fell completely flat. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that story. We're going to tell you the core in today's episode of the Grant Sparks Show, episode 356, Gather Your Crew before your crowd. But before anything, we're covering morning cup of gratitude. What are you grateful for? If you cannot start your day, if you are so pent up that you cannot post in the comments right now what you are grateful for, you're not in a state of mind to lead. This is your opportunity. Good morning. Mondays with Grant are how you actually take a moment to access your leadership. So take a moment now, access your gratitude, and share with me what you're grateful for today, this morning, this week. Drop in the comments so I can shout you out. I see you, Roy Brooks, on TikTok. I see you, Proctor, on TikTok. Good. Tell me what you're grateful for in the comments. Let me give you a shout, and let's start. Morning cup of gratitude. Let's do it. I'm super grateful for my weekend. It wasn't entirely restful in the way that I consider restfulness, but we were able to weed out our garden bed so it looks a little bit more zen. I was able to pull out my Zen meditation bench, which is right behind me right now. And I have my brother built this nice wooden bench. I'm so grateful that I have my meditation bench again. I'm grateful for my morning runs. On mornings like this, I usually miss workouts, but it dawned on us suddenly, why don't we go for a run in the morning? So I've been running now on Mondays and 3 days a week, adding that into my lifting routine. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for getting through another weekend and having another shot at bat at the dream and the vision. I'm grateful for Alex and Layla Hormozi's big launch on Saturday. I spent about 6 hours of my Saturday watching them launch their new book, $100 million Money Models. And it was a masterclass in sales. Some people said they got on and there was some value, but they were really pissed off because it was all selling. I sat down and watched a master who had rehearsed, and he wasn't dressed fancy. He was dressed like Alex Hormozi, but I learned so much just watching him do sales, and it lit me up. That's what I'm grateful for. What are you grateful for? Are you grateful for anything? Morning cup of gratitude? What gets you out of bed? Take a second sitting with the person you're with and just lean over to them and say, I'm grateful for this today. And you will feel an energetic shift that starts to prepare you for a powerful day of receiving what the universe has for you. If you don't have it, that won't even begin. It won't even start. Now let's talk about the core freedom framework of getting your crew before the crowd. So you know that my goal is to train and equip people to live a life of freedom. We call it igniting lives of explosive significance and feeling free in your fitness and health, healthy, happy relationships, work you enjoy, and spirituality or personal development and growth. We call it the TLE, the total life experience. We shape frameworks within each of these for easy memory, for easy framework on stuff that we've tested and works. And I am here to tell you, I have led and failed at more movements than people have even attempted. In my 20s, I was part of a church. I was a youth pastor. I had to get the youth pastor thing up and running, and we had to launch that thing, and that was actually launched kind of successfully. We launched 2 brand new MLMs that didn't exist before and built $2 million legs of our downline in MLMs in my 20s. Now, some of that failed on the back end. In my 30s, we launched a book club, just a book club. We were reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and then we moved on to several leadership books. And we had at some point 30 people showing up at a cafe here in Lakeland, Florida, just around books. We had a launch for my book, The Top 100 Dream Igniter, which is, can you see it behind me? That book, that stack of books right there, my first real book. I've published several books, but that's my first real one that I'm proud of. And that launch went really well. And we had a crew of people that came around that. We tried other launches that has failed. At some point, we were going to launch a whole new platform, a whole new product that doesn't even exist anymore. And I remember meeting in one of the couples' house. We had about 5 or 6 couples that all showed up. 6 couples. We had a total of about 14 people on our launch crew. And as we kept working and kept building, a few dropped off. And by the time it was time to launch, we had no one but me and my wife, Marissa, and the crew at the time. And it was a failure and it hurt. Everyone eventually went away, but I learned a major gap. And it was one of these 4 items. Today's framework is CORE, C-O-R-E. Choose wisely. Choose this launch team wisely. Open the table discussion. Open the table discussion and how that works and how to do that in a way that allows people to feel like they can speak freely. R, refine the thing together. E, empower forward. How to get these people launched into the world. And when you hit that last one, that's when you transition from the crew to the crowd. You see, we're moving from an inside-out approach instead of the outside-in. A lot of people want the boons and the rewards of society, so they work from the outside in. How do I look the part? How do I get people in the room? How do I get beautiful people on my arm? How do I drive that supercar? And then people will believe, or maybe someday I'll believe. It's an outside-in approach. But it is ancient principle that never works. Whether you're talking about woo-woo quantum theory, or whether you're talking about standard psychology, you have to become the thing before you do the things. And you got to do the things before you have the things. And if you really want to have the things, and by the things, I mean freedom. You go through Instagram and you see people with beautiful people on their arms, traveling beautiful places in the world, and they're doing the lone wolf thing. I did this thing all alone. Bullshit. They might have done it alone, and they might have even captured some cute drone videography for that. But they are unfulfilled in a way that you're not seeking. When you see this footage and you see these images, you project a degree of fulfillment That's why Spark is about igniting lives of explosive significance. You have to work from the inside out to actually have the thing and have the fulfillment you think that thing will bring. Hear that again. You have to work from the inside out to not only have the thing, but have the fulfillment you think that thing will bring. I cannot tell you, I know right now, I have run with millionaires and multimillionaires, successful real estate guys, successful infopreneur guys, and those guys have made money and they are unfulfilled and miserable. I'm not saying don't do it. Some of us just need the breathing room financially to explore ourselves. Fine. And that's what they've done. They've bought themselves time to go build relationships. And nearly all of them say this: I could have had the fulfillment before the money. I didn't have to do one before the other, but they had to learn that lesson. And maybe you and I need to learn that way too. But don't fool yourself is all I'm saying. That freedom, true freedom, does not happen at the attainment of a thing. It happens in who you become from the inside out as you obtain that thing. That's where the fulfillment comes. The relationships you have to build. How you have to take care of yourself and get rest and think clearly, your fitness and health. How you have to work hard, but work hard at something you love so much you can't even tell you're working. If I do what I love and never work a day in my life, it's true. You're going to grind and it's going to be tough, but it's going to flow. And grow. Did I grow? Did I personally develop? Am I closer to my spirit? Am I closer to something transcendent? Do I know how to access transcendence and fulfillment at the drop of a hat? Can I turn on my gifts? You want to become the thing in getting the thing. You don't want to just buy the thing. I remember, I just heard Alex Hormozy say this. He said this on Saturday. He had a Guinness Book of World Records and it broke the record. And he was holding it and then said, well, let me put this up now. And then he said into the microphone. That was about 3 months of happiness after 3 years of work. And now I need the next thing. He's not fulfilled, and that's okay. We're all working towards something. The core framework starts from the inside out. You led yourself first. You got in front of the mirror before you grabbed the microphone. You worked on yourself. You said, would I stand on a street corner impassioned about the topic and never make any money and still believe the same thing? I do. I believe it's the most critical thing that I help people with the tools and training to live an ignited life of explosive significance, to make money, to get in good health, to do work that matters, to build relationships that matter and personally develop. That's what we are. And I would stand on a street corner broke, and I have. Screaming about this thing because I believe in it. Do you believe in your thing that much? Is it a business? Is it a church? Would you stand on a street corner for the belief in your church before you ever had pews and a pulpit? I did. I literally did. In a mobile home park in Vero Beach, Florida, knocking on doors. I believed it at the time. I have different beliefs now. But do you believe in your thing? That's step one, leading yourself. And step two, as we said, is calling out the elephant in the room and developing rapport. So CORE, choose wisely, open the table, refine together, and power forward. Let's talk about that. So you might feel like you're carrying the entire vision on your back alone. This is a huge problem. Every leader I know feels this. If you consider yourself a leader, Amy D on TikTok, how you doing? If you consider yourself a leader, you might feel like you're carrying the vision alone, and you probably are. If you don't feel that way, I challenge, are you actually a leader? The meetings, the risks, the late nights. It's tempting to think I'll just do this myself. Every leader has been burned at least once. I've been burned multiple times, and we could tell stories. Kicked out of my own church, kicked out of my own nonprofit. I've been burned as a leader. And it's tempting to go into your cave place and think, I'm just going to do this myself. Why? I'm smart enough to lead other people. I should be able to lead myself. There's a flaw in that. Leadership is a skill. And the people that gather around leaders have skills that leaders actually don't have. So yes, you could probably do some yourself. But doing it yourself is self-deluding and it hurts you. But you've carried the vision for so long. Late night self-doubt, endless pivoting. It's exhausting. And it's like, am I just talking to myself here? I watched Mr. Robot. I finished the show on Mr. Robot. And then you come to realize this dude's just having conversations with himself. You're starting to feel like you're losing the thread. Here's what's worse. The danger in leaders who have been wounded and have pulled back from their leadership role. Here's the danger. Isolation accelerates burnout, especially as a leader, because we thrive. I live in the environment of the group. I had to convince someone. I had to convince Nicole recently. She's like, wow, you really light up. You access a different aspect of Grant when you get in front of crowds. And I said, no, that's the normal me. The one-on-one me is struggling. The one-on-one me can hack it. I can lead my business so far. I'm probably the biggest problem in my business. But you put me on a stage and hand me a mic, that's where I live. I was born, literally born that way. Isolation accelerates burnout. And in a hyper-connected world, loneliness is actually one of the fastest growing challenges for leaders. Believe it or not, we're more connected but disconnected from everyone. We're not actually living our gift. So we are actually burning out. It's draining because we are always thinking leadership thoughts, but it's going nowhere. We become our own echo chamber. Loneliness, I'm telling you, loneliness is the silent killer of leaders, hands down. And if you are a leader and you are lonely, DM me. In fact, if you are lonely and you're a leader, tell me in the comments. Admit it. Admit it. It'll get it off your chest. And then we can holler and hang. I got a buddy, Ryan Chris. We're now texting more frequently. He's been a client, but he's a friend now. And we haven't even really hung out. We just DM and talk and catch up because we're lonely as leaders. He's killing it. He's killing it in his business. But we're lonely as leaders. Being alone as a leader warps your perspective. This is a hidden danger. You become your own, distortion field. You become your own echo chamber, and you start to believe, oh, I'm great at this stuff. I'm just holding out. And you have these weird thought loops, and you're not really refining yourself at all. High achievers are very vulnerable to this. So here's the answer. Start, but don't start with the masses. You're not ready. Your heart might be impassioned for the topic. Your eyes might be able to see a problem that the others cannot see. They feel, but they cannot name it. And that's where and we covered that last week. You have the ability to see a problem and feel a problem and articulate a problem that others are feeling, but cannot articulate. That's what makes you a leader. But you're still not ready. But it's time. Gather your core. You need a trusted few who are going to keep you accountable. They're your equals. These are not just followers, unless they're super mature followers. These are not people that are in your potential following. Hopefully, these are peers who don't have a stake in what you're doing, except they want to see you win. You need these peers. You're not asking for money from them. These people are not the people you're doing your call to action. They're not going to hire you for your business. They're not going to be major donors, maybe partial donors in your nonprofit. They're not those people. This is your counsel, your core. They're there to sharpen your vision and multiply your strength. I watched Alex Hormozy for 6 hours bring some of the biggest names I know of, and I didn't even know that they knew Alex. Tom Below, Alex Becker, PC. These guys, and obviously Layla, these people, I didn't even know they were connected with the Hormozys, and I watched him bring these council members out, and they might have stake in his business, might not, but they're all 100 millionaires or billionaires together as a crew. This was their crew. Very inspiring. They're there to hold you accountable, sharpen your vision, challenge your assumptions, and multiply your strength. Leading is not about going it alone. It's about gathering a core team. Jesus and the disciples, Muhammad had his crew. Buddha had his crew. Every faith movement, the leader gathered a crew first. Here's how we do it. CORE. Number 1, choose wisely. Not every champion wears a cape. Look for character, not charisma. Look for courage and curiosity. Your core should reflect diversity of thought, diversity of values, not just titles or proximity. I don't know if you paid attention to politics much, but if you look close enough, whether someone has an audience because they're on the right or they're on the left or they're pro this or anti that, they still run in the same room because high performers know that that's kind of trivial, but it also hones and shapes their vision. It shapes them as a leader to have that diversity. If you have a group that's all the same, you will see such a high turnover rate in leadership. It's not funny. Have you watched the Trump administration and how their turnover has gone? It's nuts. because everyone's the same, generally speaking. You need a diverse group of people speaking into your life to hone your skills. Look for people who challenge your assumptions, who aren't just drinking from the Kool-Aid. They disagree, but not for the sake of drama. They disagree, and they disagree in a constructive way. They're not calling you out. They're calling out the impact you're having. Hey, I know you're trying to have this impact grant, but I see that when you do this, it has less of an impact than I think it could. Maybe try this. Very constructive. Very helpful. When they disagree with you, they know ultimately it is to sharpen your thinking, and they know it's a deposit in that relationship, because when they go through their launch in 6 months later, you're going to contribute to them too. So choose wisely. People who bring depth, not just cheerleaders. Now, you might have one person who in particular has that gift of being a cheerleader, but you don't want them all that way. You don't need sycophants. You don't need followers yet. So here's what I recommend. Here's the action. Do this actual action this week. Here it is. Instead of just listing a bunch of names, schedule yourself some clarity time of a leadership audit. Write down the names of 5 people you trust implicitly. And if you don't have 5 you trust implicitly, I think you need to get out there and network a bit more. But write down 5, and they can be anywhere in the world. 5 people. You need to dig back deep. I think 2 out of the 5 I think of, I have not been in the same continent with in the last 3 years. A third one lives on a continent full-time away. List people that you trust implicitly, not because they're always right and not because they're always accurate, but because they have the character and the vision, meaning the sight. I don't mean like the future vision. I mean, they have the clarity to see the flaws in things according to their skill. For each one, jot down their strength. This one cuts through the fog very well. This one has a moral compass. This one brings clarity under pressure. This one has a unique Rolodex. This one has a unique insight into this target niche. Whatever it is, write down the 5 people that you trust implicitly and their defining characteristic as it pertains to your current mission. Now, once that's, make this a meditative act. Don't just pencil whip it. Make it a meditative act. Then choose 3 to invite based on those strengths and send them a very candid invite. High performers don't want you to dance around the topic. High performers want to actually hear what's going on. So something along the lines of, listen, I'd love your help shaping this vision because of this strength that you carry. Will you be one of my core crew, one of my core creators? If they turn you down, go to the next person on the list. That's okay. If they accept, thank them, gush, celebrate them, and reinforce. Thank you so much. I love and value your insight because of A, B, and C, and I will make this worth your time. C, choose wisely. That's the action to take. Oh, open the table. Once you've landed on your 3 to 5 people, remember, trust isn't built in a vacuum of yes men and yes women. It's forged, built, shaped in the tension of like very real conversations. So your table or how you're meeting, your Zoom, this relationship space has got to be a place where it's safe to be honest. Now, the people you choose should be mature enough to make that safe for you too. You as the leader have to clear the table and say, hey, I need your pure honesty here. But these should be people that are mature enough to communicate, critique, or advice, but in a way that's constructive, that's not attacking you so you don't get defensive. Like mature people performing at any level above like standard American income levels usually know how to sit at a table and offer advice without attacking you and without triggering a reaction. But regardless, it's on you to make people feel comfortable to share transparently, because sometimes high performers are weird people and sometimes they don't have social graces. Sometimes they just plow ahead. I've been around one guy that was a massively successful programmer. He's borderline autistic and he just always spoke his mind. And it was valuable if you could filter through, the borderline Tourette syndrome. But you as a leader, since it's your table, it's up to you to open this up. You need to structure your gatherings with intentional questions. Give it structure. This isn't free form. They're there for a reason, and these people do not like to waste their time. If they've committed to you, let them sit down and make use of their time. Intentional questions. Start with vulnerability, not agenda. Invite their best and their realist feedback. So here's your action. This is how you structure these meetings. And these can be a group or one-on-one. Sometimes these people are such high performers, they can only meet according to their schedule, and ask for 25 minutes, no more. 25 minutes, no more. And here's the structure. First 5 minutes, tell them what the current big challenge is. Give it context. And high performers understand that context has to be laid before content can be delivered. So give them the context. Here's the context. Sometimes they might ask this ahead of time. So maybe you could record it ahead of time or write it down. But the first few minutes should be giving them the big challenge you're facing. Then open up the next 15 minutes for them to talk. And ask, what am I overlooking? Where does my ambition blind me? Where am I self-deluded? Where's my own echo chamber ruling my thinking here? And then the last 5 minutes, confirm that you heard them. Say back to them what they said and say, hey, listen, let me say back to you what I think you said. List it. Did I miss anything? No. Okay. So then ask, how can we co-design from here? And they might say, well, let's just keep meeting. Show me your edits. Or I'll make myself available. Or when this thing is ready, they'll make some kind of offer. But ask the question, how can we keep co-designing this thing from here? How do you want to participate? And they might participate just as an advisor. They might want to participate as a partner. Give them that opportunity. Most people, if they're in this circle, will say, let's jam. They know you, they like you. And when they see you stepping out, most likely, if you chose wisely, the first letter C, and you've opened the table, you've listened to them, and then you said, hey, how do you want to co-build this together? What level of involvement do you want? They will tell you. You need a good core of about 5 people. So if they say, well, I just want to advise, it's fine. Then add someone to that list and have the same conversation. But you got to build out this list and you got to ask that question. And then confirm to them, I'll make these edits. Do you mind if I share this with you next week once I've made these edits? Can I share this with you again for a final review? Sure. And then close by thanking them. Like gush with your gratitude. You have to gush with gratitude. I'm so grateful for you. You've moved this thing forward. Your voice matters. You make this thing better for the mission. And you've got to make sure they know your mission. And it's got to be integrated. Our mission of igniting lives of explosive significance is to, long story short, give the tools and training to 10,000 creators to be exceptional in their field. Because we believe when we get these creators, speakers, authors, business builders, nonprofit runners, people who view themselves as a builder and a creator, we want to put the tools and trainings in their hand so that we can amplify good in the world, right? If I ask some of my core member to be involved and I open the table and say, how do you want to be involved? They need to know, no, this fulfills my mission too, man. I love your mission. Let's go. Okay. C, choose wisely. O, open the table. R, refine together. Ideas born in isolation mutate when they face real feedback. Inviting others to improve your ideas doesn't weaken your vision, it hones it. And when you hone it, it cuts deeper, it makes a deeper impact. Use your crew to test your assumptions, to spot risk, to anticipate the impact. This will have a positive impact. The goal isn't consensus. It's clarity and stronger conviction over this thing. How do we make this thing truly convicting to everyone in the room? Because if it's not convicting to these high-lid people that you've chosen wisely, you need to work on it. You can't keep putting out fluff. People can get fluff all the time. People can ask ChatGPT for fluff. You're trying to make an impact. This is the only difference maker. And I even believe Peter Diamandis put this in his book called Exponential Organizations. The first thing was the major transformative purpose. If they can get it from ChatGPT, it is not powerful enough. Now, maybe you have a home services business and you think robots aren't putting up drywall. What mission do I need? You still need a mission to compete with your peers. You still need to be an advanced organization incorporating AI and all of these practices we're talking about now, leadership practices, to take you into the next season because everything's changing anyway. So as you refine this thing, the thing is clarity and conviction within the core. Here's your action. Pick one high impact milestone or moment of this thing. If you're launching a book, the book launch. If you're running your business, it's kind of rebranding and relaunching your business or coming out or taking the next level. If it's launching your career as an author or a speaker, maybe it's a public speaking event or a book signing. If you're a nonprofit, maybe it's a fundraising event. Pick one high impact moment. For Alex Hormozi last weekend, it was his book launch. It was a virtual book launch. Your next level up should happen with a threshold moment like this, a milestone moment like this. And if you do not have one in mind, DM me, reach out because you don't have any direction. Well, Grant, I'm selling books and I'm selling my course and I'm just working on my marketing. Great. You still need a press-worthy event or moment, a relatable moment that is a threshold moment, like a 5K fundraiser, like a book launch, like a public speaking event, even if you put it together yourself, like a networking event, like a webinar. You need something that's this milestone thing that forces you to show up and then to see you show up and witness you deliver what you do. If it's a service-based business, maybe you need an employee or a client appreciation night. You need a milestone to be working towards. So pick one. The action for R, refine together, is to pick one high impact moment and refine it through reality. Basically, do a run through of this thing with your core. Present your outline, present your key points. Ask, is this confusing? What's missing? Where might this land flat? Ask these questions. Do the run through. Ask these questions because if you've said this is a high impact moment, you want it to have as much impact as possible. And so as you run through this, you should also be inviting specific suggestions. For example, should I swap this analogy? Should I tighten this ask? Is the ask clear enough? Should I toughen this boundary? Should I reiterate the offer? If you watch Alex Hormozi every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, he reiterated his offer, his $6,000 offer. I wasn't put out by it at all. Some people were really put out by it, but I appreciated listening to him run through it several times. Invite specific critique from your core crew. Where does it fall flat? Does it deliver the impact? What's missing? Is it confusing in any way? And is it clear what I'm doing? And then follow up with, very clear, say back to them what they told you and say, can I bring you a revised draft next week? C, choose your group wisely. Pick 3 and sit with them in the framework we offered. O, open the table for trustworthy open dialogue. Invite that conversation to happen. And I gave you a 25-minute framework on how to run through this thing so you don't waste their time. You reinforce the value they're bringing and you invite them to the depth of involvement that they want. I want to be a partner on this thing. Or I'll run some marketing if you give me a good affiliate code. I love what you're building. Let me run it through my audience. Great. R, refine together. Basically do a run through of whatever it is your thing is. And ask for the invite. Ask for the feedback. Ask for the fall flat. If it's a new marketing piece for your home services, show them it. Does this fall flat? Does this make sense? Does this add any good? I'm about to dump $1,000, 10 grand into it. Is this any good? And then when they give you that feedback, reiterate it and tell them, can I come back to you next week and share it with you to see if it matches what you suggested? Last point, R or E, empower forward. You've chosen a killer crew. You've opened the table for good, clear conversation. You've refined the thing together. Now's the thing. Now's the final moment when this goes in front of people. Empower forward. You've prepped the internal work in the light leadership framework. You've spent time building empathy and rapport by illuminating the challenges that you're solving with this thing. You know, whatever it is, you've illuminated the challenges and you've built whatever it is you're presenting to your core crew, the solution to that problem. So they should be hyped. They should be ready to be involved. Grant, we agreed that you called out the challenge that maybe this is missing in the world. Let's start this nonprofit. Or maybe in your industry, the services drop the ball like this and you're solving that. You've presented, they should be hyped. And now the last point is when you call them to amplify the message in 10x who you're reaching. Empower forward looks like this. Leadership multiplies when others step into it. Your crew isn't just for feedback unless they've put up a clear boundary. They're co-leaders now. Let them carry it forward. Empowerment comes through mini ownership. Let them lead mini initiatives. Get with them either as a group or individually and say, how can we move this forward with your own audience? How can we move this forward in a way? What's something you could do? Let them come up with that mini initiative. Maybe I'll put it in front of my email list. Whoa, that's so awesome. I'd be grateful for that. I'll step in and hit my Rolodex and invite a few people to this event. That would be phenomenal. I'll redesign your website so that it actually does the marketing well because this person has a marketing skill. Thank you so much. So when they offer these mini initiatives and trust them, give them what they need, serve them. How can I help you do that? Thank you so much. I think we're online. That aligns with this mission. How can I help you? And then celebrate them publicly. Nicole came on as business development manager about 2-3 weeks ago, and she started the newsletter, and it looks phenomenal. She said, I think I'm going to start a newsletter. I'm like, go for it. What do you need? And it looks phenomenal. And I'm here in public to 9 people, 11 people, 8 people, 15 people, and everyone at TikTok and everyone at Instagram. And I'm telling you and bragging on this person. They ran this newsletter. It's phenomenal. Celebrate them publicly is what I'm saying. Celebrate your people publicly. Celebrate them publicly. I cannot say it enough. We do not celebrate these core people enough when they take initiative. Why? Our vision gets so big that we just assume that needs to be done, that needs to be. And when someone picks those small things up, you're like, well, thank God. I've always assumed that should be done. It should have always been done. And they just pick it up. Thank God they picked it up. But you need to pause and say, someone did this for you. And maybe there's a value exchange. Maybe they are value exchanging for equity. Maybe you've paid them for their time. It could be. But if they have chosen a mini initiative, celebrate them publicly. Adam was always good for this. When we had, when he was launching Spark Bookkeeping, we were launching initiatives together. Brittany was always good for this when we were doing this stuff together. Christina, Brandon, Marissa, Jenna, Amber, always good people to pick up an initiative and just act on it. I've always been blessed with these people, and I don't think I have ever celebrated them publicly enough. And they're phenomenal. You got to build rituals that celebrate and builds mutual trust. It's not blind loyalty. They picked it up out of the compassion, and you've done the leadership work to get there. You've earned that mutual trust, and they're like, let's go. They're starting to believe in the movement. You celebrate them. It perpetuates the movement. The act of perpetuating the movement is you need them to do things to amplify. If they do things to amplify, you have to celebrate this. This is how you empower forward. This is how you multiply the cause. Napoleon Bonaparte said, men will die for ribbons. I don't think you need to ask your people to die necessarily, but you need to celebrate them so big that they keep going over the top. There is no such thing as celebrating people too much. I know old school leaders who are like the command and control leaders, authoritarian leaders think, you shouldn't celebrate people too much. They'll get lazy. I've heard this. And I go, bullshit. Good people who take initiative cannot be celebrated enough. So here's the action you take. Delegate or ask them to take on overtly, even if they don't offer, ask them to take on one meaningful task. They can say no. If they say no, don't be butthurt about it. Thank them. Thank them for their input so far. And then ask, do you know someone who could help me with this? Ask. You believe in your thing. You'd be willing to stand on a street corner with no microphone, just with a mirror because of your cause. Alex Hormozy said, if you have no money, you should have no shame. If you have no followers and no movement, you should have no shame in asking. And if it's coming from an authentic place and you have all this relationship built, you ask for one meaningful task this week. Something aligned with the mission, but outside your skill set. Hey, do you mind running that ad campaign for me? I can't do that. Well, we can do that for pay. Okay, let's talk about it. How do we get that done? I can't do that. Well, I could do it for equity. Okay, let's talk about it. What does it need to look like? Or I just can't do it. Great. Do you know someone who could help me with it? It's outside of your skill set, and you're bootstrapping this thing. Tom Below bootstrapped Quest Bar, Quest Nutrition, until it sold for $1 billion. They bootstrapped the whole thing. It was questions like that got to them there. So when you ask for something that's in line with the mission, outside of your skill set, that is a small task, they get it going. Give them trust, but attach a personal note or affect to it. I really trust your skill in marketing. I really trust your ability to get people going. I really trust how you manage email newsletters. I really trust how you put the production of videos together, whatever it is. I really trust how you project manage. Can you take this one unit and really make it shine? Yes or no? If yes, celebrate. If no, ask, do you know someone who could? Celebrate the outcomes afterwards, big or small. Because even if your event or your milestone or your launch falls flat, even if that marketing initiative falls flat, it's never about this event. It's always about the next. Is something we used to say in public speaking. And a lot of people think I'm talking about marketing only. I'm only talking about selling people. I'm not. It's never about this event. It's always about the next. Is a leadership principle. It's a people principle. Meaning, no matter the wins, big or small, go back to your core crew and lavish them with praise. Thank them and let them know, can I reach out to you for the next one? This was fun. We did something good together. We reached X, Y, and Z amount of people. We achieved, but more than anything, we built an awesome team and an awesome system. Can we do this again together? And can I reach out to you? And then offer them whatever you need for your own thing. Let me know. And the biggest stage you have possible, the biggest microphone you have that reaches the most amount of people, celebrate these people. I got to shout out Nicole did that awesome newsletter. I got to shout out Amber, has been running nearly every single build now for years and is killing it. I got to shout out John Sierra, is crushing murals around the world. I got to shout out my clients. Ryan is doing some of the best things in his field, and that stuff we can't even talk about with certain brands and businesses we can't even talk about for the NDAs. They are phenomenal. He is truly delivering. Adam is crushing it as a business broker out there, and we don't even talk ever, but I lurk and watch him go. These people are crushing it just like that. Celebrate your people with the biggest microphone. I'm telling you this right now. If you have done the inner work, the outer work is clarity of vision and lavish praise. You do an ask, and if someone says no, that's great. Do you know someone who does? And you, if they don't, write your list of the next person you're going to ask and go through the same process and ask them, can you take on this thing? Can you go share the message with 10 people? Could you bring another 5 people to our next event? Could you just reach out to your Rolodex and get 5 people there? I'd really appreciate it. Could you buy 2 copies of my book and put it into someone's hand? That's all I'm asking for. Do you believe in the tool that we shape together? Do you mind putting it into someone's hand? Whatever it is, ask. And when they say yes, no matter the results, drown out the noise of the world with the volume of your praise. People are starving, not for money, but for status, significance, igniting lives of explosive significance. That's why I talk about leadership. That's why I talk about all of these things, because people, yes, they need more money. This world is getting tough. I'd say an unseen thing that is even more powerful in their lives is lack of leadership. Self-leadership, leadership of others, their own vision being activated, them activating the people around them. You cannot celebrate people loud enough, and not just to manipulate people to follow you, but to celebrate people because they're starving for recognition, for the hard things that they're doing. Everyone is doing hard things. Everyone is doing hard things. And they just need someone to give them a vision, to apply their gifts to, and to celebrate meaningful work. Why are we talking about this? Leadership doesn't happen in silos. It happens in a circle. And that circle is your core crew. Choose your champions. Choose wisely. Open up your table to honesty. CO. Refine your ideas together. COR. And empower forward momentum. CORE. Core. And as you build your core, this is the work of leadership in a movement for your nonprofit, for your service-based business, for your church, for your political movement, for your community that you're building. This is the work of leadership. The rest, in the Freedom Framework of Leadership, LIGHT, and we're on G right now, H and T are good works to keep the momentum alive, but the core work is the core crew work. This week, the first thing I want you to do is to make your list. There's a lot of homework here. Go watch the replay. There's a lot of homework here. But the one is your leadership audit and writing down 5 people and their trait that you want to get them involved. You have to do this week or you are not serious about your cause. Maybe they're already on your team. That's great. Sit them down and then do the second step, which is open the table to the vision. But no matter what you do today, I want you to remember why we're doing this. There's an entrepreneur. There's a spiritual guide. There's an infopreneur. There's an author. There's a budding politician. There's a family father or mother who are starving for lack of tools and training. Where do I go? What do I do? First thing you could do is please share this video or a channel from this video to them. That would mean the world to me. But they need what you got today. They need leadership. So no matter what you do today, remember the mission: igniting lives of explosive significance.